Good morning to you, wherever you may be in the world today. Alan Clements here from Santa Monica, California, United States of America. February 27th, 2021. Today's talk, Burma, the Next Tibet. Is it true? Is it in progress? Has it already happened? Is it in slow motion? Is it instantaneous over a 5-year period? I'd like to address this issue. Thank you for tuning in, and if I may invite you, be a force multiplier. We have our voice, we have our fingers, we have our senses, we have our conscience. May I invite you to share this video frequently to as many people, primarily within Myanmar as possible, but everywhere, to mobilize, increase the luminosity, the radiance of this revolution of consciousness in Burma today. It's not just in Myanmar, it's a global phenomena. The oxygen of freedom, democracy, and the universality of the ability to think freely, to use our voice, our hands, our eyes, our creativity, to make love, to kiss, to dance. Burma is celebrating in revolution today against a military regime that has turned absolutely toxic more than ever and has become Burma's Taliban, a terrorist organization run by the man named as Senior General Min Aung Hlaing, a warlord, a mafia man. And his senior, U Thant Shui, and the men around him. And if I may, let's dive in. I was, and like many of you, radically riled by watching the democratic uprising in Hong Kong in response to the tyranny of mainland China's desecration of their agreement to Hong Kong's autonomy, to democracy, to rule of law under democracy, and the progressive violation, the escalation of violence to the freedom-loving boys and girls of Hong Kong that risked it all over the course of nearly a year and a half. And now most of them have silenced, imprisoned, or have fled the country. And Xi Jinping of China, the genocidal dictator of the Communist Party of China, not the Chinese people. They haven't enjoyed a day of freedom in their lives. It's the genocidal dictator who controls the 90 million men and women called the Communist Party of China. They're a blight on the world's landscape. It's obvious. And they've incarcerated this beautiful city of people, our fellow sisters and brothers in Hong Kong. It's a fait accompli for the most part. Tibet, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Dharamsala, Northern India, 2.5 million Tibetans dismembered, murdered, raped, killed, starved to death under the watchful eye of the free world over the last how many decades. That happened in 1950, a sovereign nation, the Tibetan Plateau. Buddhism, that gave us the birth of the concept of the Dalai Lama, of the Bodhisattva, a being dedicated to the elevation of love and kindness and compassion, regardless of the context. It's so rad. It isn't the only place it's found, but a living embodiment of a person, a culture that keeps alive the luminosity of that great ideal of the Bodhisattvahood. Tibet, ongoing persecution, desecration. I've spoken about it over the course of the last year and will do it more and more. Something close to 200 boys and girls, men and women, nuns and monks in Tibet, lighting themselves on fire with kerosene to protest, to bring awareness to their people, without press and media there, of the ongoing persecution of what's going on in the Tibetan Plateau, one of the great cultures of the world where vast amount of resources in uranium and water. China wants it. China has it. Burma, the southern border of China. You may know China has something, close to 33, 34, 35 distinct divisions and regions. At least half of them, close to half, have more people in that region, in that division, than the entire population of Burma, which is about 54 million people. Burma could easily become an annex, a division, a region of mainland China. Why do I say that? They have a 1,200-mile border. That is a neighboring country. And you've got a man dressed in a suit who seems to smile but behaves in a way that, from a very conventional democratic point of view, is the mind of a psychopath. Is that severe? No. Our president in America, Joseph R. Biden, just yesterday we've noticed in the media and on TV, gave a walking pass to the Crown Prince in Saudi Arabia, where intel traced the murder and dismemberment of a Washington Post columnist from Saudi roots. And Biden said, I don't think we want to jeopardize protocol and good relations with Saudi Arabia. We'll sanction a few of the men around the Crown Prince, who is destined to be the ruling king of Saudi Arabia when his aging father dies. And our president, I don't know about you, said, yep, I see that you're the one who ordered and celebrated the murder and dismemberment of an American abiding human being working for the Washington Post when he was leaving the embassy, it was in Istanbul. And because of our relationship to Saudi Arabia, although he's a murderer, I don't think we're going to do anything. Count me as an idiot, fool, outsider that doesn't understand international diplomacy. But what that sends to the world, what that sends to Saudi Arabia, what that sends to the dictators in China, what that sends to the head of the terrorist organization in Myanmar, what that sends to every boy and girl in the world is that you can murder someone, and because you have oil and you've got a high-ranking role, hey man, high five, man, I got your back covered. If that isn't morally vacuous, that you could go to a church, kneel and pray to your God to be a leader based upon that kind of behavior, you're a son of Sam. You're a serial killer. You are absolutely an impotent leader of the free world. How did you get there? Money, profit, the desecration of nature, the ongoing collusion with the weapons industry, with oil and gas. You know, I don't know about you, but it's like you could go on and on and on to dissect the stupidity of our world. At the same time, there's incredible beauty, right? Burma is an extraordinarily sacred land, not just an ordinary land. Like Tibet, a neighbor of Tibet. Breathtaking snow-capped peaks to isolated long stretches of white sand and crystal clear water. Villages, a tapestry of them all throughout the country, 135 different ethnicities, nearly 100 different languages. Buddhism, Judaism, atheism, Islam, Catholicism, Christianity. Nagas, agrarian culture, sacred land. When you go there, those who've traveled Burma often say, I have never witnessed, nor have I ever absorbed into a culture like I have in Myanmar. And it's not easy to say Burma is Burmese. Burma is a tapestry, a global mosaic of the entire planet, the size of Texas or France. And my God, when I went there, it was like going back 2,000 years. At the same time, people spoke English and related through heart and generosity. How many times I've traveled the country as a complete stranger. Uncontrived invitations, please. How honored we'd be to have you in our home for dinner, for lunch, for breakfast. And the elders and the grandparents and the children and the family would come back and they would dress in their finest, but unpretentious finest. And they would be so curious. I always remember the curiosity of the Koreans, the Shans, the Mons, the Rakanese, the Buddhists, the Catholics. I've traveled the country numerous times. From where do you come? What brought you to our land? Who are your parents? How do they think and believe? How did they bring you up? A culture of inquiry. And I don't know about you, but I've done my fair share of psychedelics and the psilocybin and the dosing of high, low, medium. I've done meditation. Burma, it's a spiritual land. That doesn't just mean a regard for the nuministic, the mystery, the enchantment, the origins of something that precedes and engulfs and illuminates consciousness. They're a consciousness culture. And it's no wonder that the seed of meditation, which isn't just stress release, it's the occupation of dimensionality. Burma is a land that occupies galaxies upon galaxies within the nuances of human interrelatedness. I've never seen poetry so subtle, dance so elegant, voice so tonal. And you've got a culture primarily of Buddhists, but not alone, that they have the spectrum, the radiance of 31 dimensions of consciousness. I say this in relationship, I don't know about you, but I felt a suffocating inauthenticity in my elementary years and in my high school years. A claustrophobia of the war machine and the deafening, dumb din of orders to fight into a useless war, to kill in the ideology of a lie. And I began to see the perversity of the American war machine and the government. And I wanted to belong to the government. I wanted to be a diplomat. I wanted to be in the Senate. I wanted to be a president. I went to the University of Virginia. I worked hard. I worked in a gas station at the age of 10. My dad told me, if you want things, you work. And I worked. I sold cars and fixed them up before I could even drive. I understood the American drive for entrepreneurship and independence and caring for things larger than your own fucking self-interest, Joseph Biden. That's America, and we care about religion. And I'm a religious person. I'm a spiritual person, aren't you? What is life? Just toys and trinkets and gadgets? Who wants to basically live in the dimensionality of a flat screen? Fuck, man, give me life, give me intimacy, give me sex, give me truth, give me physicality, give me dance, give me music. Welcome to China. A firewall around all that stuff. That is nonsense. That's sociopathy. That is a sickness of the spirit. It's toxic, violent masculinity embodied in premier genocidal Xi Jinping and his running dogs in the Communist Party of Davos, embodied in Beijing, embodied in America, embodied in Wall Street, embodied in Silicon Valley. This incredible, insatiable fetish for fucking money. Blah, blah, blah. Go eat your fucking money, man. What does your wife think of you when you touch her? Money, money, money. Are we that stupid as a species? How does the shit rise to the top? Where are the leaders? You've imprisoned her in Burma. You've vilified her around the world. She tried to do the feminine-inspired dance of nonviolence to talk to sociopaths over destruction. China wants to squash everything I've just said. I am a terrorist of the heart. I'm a super hawk of kindness through the rad of improvisational spoken word infused with the psychedelic metaphor of transformational awakening. And you're killing my family, you're killing my culture, and we're saying no. Just like the United Nations ambassador from Myanmar yesterday said no to the dictator in Naypyidaw. He held up the three fingers and he just as well said, fuck you. But he did it with grace. By all means necessary, respond to the crisis in Burma. He spoke to 192 other nations. By all means required. I am so down with sending in our attack aircraft carrier group meandering around in the South China Sea, just kind of looking like we're something special between Taiwan and the mainland China, diddly squat with all our boys and girls over there, like looking into teleprompters and trying to figure out like what in the fuck are we doing over here, like playing video games and watching reruns of Game of Thrones when we could be over there morally standing with the people of Myanmar. Mr. President, hey, I think we want to take the ship to the Andaman Sea and give food and shelter and funds and moral support to the people of Burma before China makes it their Tibet. They give them weapons. They give them advice. Burma gives them in return oil and gas from the Andaman Sea right through the Rakhine state. The Rakhine issue, of course, with the Rohingya, very disconnected from oil and gas, owned exclusively by the terrorist in Naypyidaw, Ming Online, and his running dogs. Goes right into Yunnan province, southern China, and Burma, yet again, it may not be a kinetic war and a conquest like they did in the 50s of Tibet, but that Belt and Road Initiative that was instigated in, 2013 by the genocidal premier Xi Jinping of China, look at it. Look at it. The Silk Road... It's called the Belt and Road and Tyranny Initiative, as far as I can see. The Belt, Road, and Brutality Initiative. An unrestricted war. It's by all means to conquer the world, conquering world resources, conquering world food supplies, conquering world deep sea ports, off the coast of Pakistan, off the coast of Myanmar. Let's isolate the greatest, biggest democracy in the world, India. Hello, Burma, the next Tibet. I think you're a little bit too far-fetched. I don't think so. I think it's happening instantaneously. If we were to take a 5-year picture, just like the climate collapse that we're in, from a geological perspective, it looks like slow motion. But from a conventional point of view, it looks like slow motion. But from a geological point of view, extinction is instantaneous. Welcome, human beings. The same thing. Fast forward, right? Burma is Tibet. It's no longer even Myanmar. It's a division of China. Mandalay, the great city of Mandalay, 90% Chinese now. I love the Chinese people. I was in a relationship with a woman whose family was from China. I know them. I like them. I love the people. I love human beings. I don't like dictatorships, and I'm not comfortable not down whatsoever with primordially driven, toxic masculine dictators. You are off, dude, in China, and you in Naypyidaw are equally off. You have exposed your deepest impulsions of domination and conquest through violence and lies and distortions, and your game is up. And I think free-loving dictators in the world, which is a euphemism for sickos, but the real democratic leaders of the world, and they're there. We outnumber you, dictator. I think they're going to rise up and draw a line in the sand and see, I think this is a very, very good place to restore our moral fiber, our moral dignity, our respect for the universality of human rights. I think Myanmar is not just some 54 million people over there trying to get it right. I think oh, wow, okay, this is a major moment, guys. Justin Trudeau, the Premier of Australia, all of the EU, ASEAN, get over your problem, man, and draw a moral line in the heart